Wow. Yeah, for a 60-foot boat, she leans into the turns quite gracefully, I think is the terminology I'm going to use. 220 litres total. That's awesome. G'day guys, and yeah, it's about now in the video when I would normally talk about how the boat goes off the plane, what it's like at displacement speeds, fuel flow, all that sort of stuff. Well, bugger that, we're just going to go fast today because I've got a triple IPS boat, triple IPS 700s, that's 550 horsepower each, and a really sweet hull. I've just been sitting down there flying the drone. This thing is lovely. I had a feeling it was going to be the case because I know it's got carbon construction built into this boat. We've got a carbon fibre topsides, so that's deck, superstructure and transom, and so your overall weight on this thing, we're running like 30 odd tonnes, which for a 60-foot boat, pretty darn good. So our power to weight ratio is quite lovely. The hull profile is gorgeous. Flat stem at the front of the bow, which looks more like a fashion statement to me because we've got very nice sloping deep V at the back of that, and I just experienced it in the waves. So Dan Jones is my name. This is Dan's Boat Life, and today we are on the Azimut S6 Sport Fly. So there is an S6 coupe, so that is the same hull as this boat, but not with the flybridge, the sexy flybridge, and I am going to drive from upstairs. So if you're interested in that, stay through to the end of the video to check what that's all about. About 2,600 litres of fuel, 20% on board, triple IPS. Hey, why have two when you have three? I love it. Yeah, and I'm just cruising along. What am I doing? Low revs at the moment, and have I got revs on this gauge? Let's just go, there we go, boom. Sitting on about 800 RPM. I'm just going to bring it up through the rev range and get moving. As I said, let's go fast. So the trim tabs on this particular boat are operated from the throttle. That's something I'm not used to on all boats, but that's fine. It's just... So I was sitting on about 9 knots there before. I'm bringing the revs up through 2,200, a little bit of bow raise. Here's where I might give it a little bit of trim tab down, and we're moving. So for a 60-foot boat, immediately this boat actually does feel sporty. You get a lot of sport this, sport that in big boats, but this has got some oomph. I'm doing 27 knots there. That's effortless. Let's just go through some turns here, and she, wow, yeah, for a 60-foot boat, she leans into the turns quite gracefully, I think is the terminology I'm going to use. Now here's some powerboat wash coming up ahead from about a 42-foot Riviera sport yacht, and I'm just going to turn into that and see how we chop it up. A little bit of swell left over in the ocean today, so we're going to cut up some of that swell and see how she goes. And we're just going to go straight into this guy's waves, and I'm just doing that very easily at 28 knots. I've got a little bit of trim tab down. I'll play with the trim as we go and talk to you, and this is going to be 3 short and sharp waves, and here we go, on us now. Yeah, slicing it up. I mean, this is fun. This is fun. So that's got us sitting on a rev range of about 2,700 revs, just there, giving me a speed return of 28. I'm now sitting on 29, and I've just got a couple of degrees of trim down on the tabs. They're not tabs, they're going to be deflectors on a boat like this. I'm just going to give it a bit more speed. It feels like she wants to go. It feels like she wants to go faster. A little bit of trim up now. This is really enjoyable. This is really enjoyable. My visibility is great. So even, you've got this window up here, even though she does heel over a little bit, I'm not finding that a danger in any way at this stage. And obviously if you were restricted or felt yourself restricted, you could just drive from upstairs, couldn't you? So now we're coming into some of the sea state. I have a few boats around me. I'm coming in at 30 knots. 60-foot boat, guys. 60-foot boat. So 30 knots. I've got some swell rolling in through the harbour, through the heads, I should say. A little bit of bounce back on my port side. The waves are coming in from starboard to port, and just a couple little breaking ones. But here we go now, going into the rolling stuff and exposing the cutting edge of my bow to those waves. And I'm just going to hook around this point, staying on that 31 knots. This is exceptional. I just keep having to pinch myself that I'm on a 60-foot boat that feels like I'm on a 40-foot sports cruiser. Like it really does. I'm doing this at 31 knots, and I have got a lot more in the rev range. This is cool. Okay, so we do have some waves rolling in, and I'm going to actually, now I'm clear of the ferry on starboard, a yacht on port. I'm going to actually drive out into this swell and go into some of these ocean waves. I'm still doing that at 30 knots, guys. So we're about to tackle a couple of rolling waves, and we're just going to go into one or two. Here we go. And here's a decent one, rolling up. Beautiful, soft landing. So this hull is lovely. That just does that with ease. Now I'm going to go down swell. Now these are of metre plus, at times 2 metres rolling waves with a relatively short period between them. And this section that I'm in now, that's increasing, that's over 2 metres. I'm just going to run down these waves now, still doing that at 30 knots. Exceptional. Okay, let's give it some more juice. She just has so much more to play with. I was at 2,700 to 2,800. I'm going to raise my tabs. I've got waves behind me. I've just accelerated straight through 33 and 34 knots there. And now I'm going to just give it wide open in a sec. I'm still in waves, so that's not a fair or true representation just yet. And I can see 35 knots. 35 knots, 3,000 revs. I'm not foot to the floor. Now that's full revs. I'm going to go up on the trim. I can see 36 knots, 3,000 revs on all 3 motors. 30, I'm going through waves. I'm hovering between 35 to 36 knots on a 60-foot sport yacht. That's just cool. That's just cool. We'll check the fuel flow in a second, because I did note when I had the fuel flow gauge up that it was pretty low. So what I'm going to do now is actually just hook the boat through. I'm going to slow it back down to that 27 knot pace, and I'm going to hook the boat through a turn. Geez, 27 knots feels slow on this boat. That's cool. That's cool, guys. Yeah, nice little bit of heel. Very, I feel very confident with this hull beneath me. Yeah, there is decent and sort of messy swell coming from multiple directions today, and we're really eating it up. I haven't seen any waves on the windscreen. I can see a little bit on the stainless steel up on the bow, but really nothing to offend any guests who might be up on the bow. My noise levels for 3 motors are super manageable. You could communicate with a partner or friends down here totally easily, and this just feels like sporty stuff. Like, a lot of brands will call it this sport or that sport, but this really does feel like a sporty boat. That's awesome. Okay, let's just come off the pace now. I love making waves. I don't think everybody else does around me, but anyway. So let's come off the pace and just slow the boat down a little bit. Yes, she makes waves. Like, I think it's kind of an irrelevant conversation once we're talking about boats in the 60-foot plus range. You know, what is the swell like? It's big. It's considerable. It's noticeable. You know, you got some presence on a boat like this. But what is interesting to me is the fuel flow. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to pull into this bay here. I'm going to have a little go at testing out the gyro and see how that performs, because we do have some waves which can come in from our port beam. We'll see how that affects the boat. The gyro is on and activated. And then we're going to transfer to the upper helm and we're going to talk about the fuel flow, because, you know, when I turned the fuel flow meter on at the beginning of the day today, I thought it was malfunctioning. It was so low. I was like, that can't be right. And so then we double checked it and I was like, holy moly, that's pretty good. So when you combine good tech with great hulls and appropriate displacement, you get fuel savings. So that's what I observed. I have rolling waves now coming in from my port side and I can see the gyro working, and I'm actually just going to leave the boat exposed here to these waves and let's just see how comfortable or uncomfortable that is. I can see it activating from 1 to 3 degrees. Welcome to the Flybridge, and this is an absolutely exquisite spot up here on this boat. So I think this is going to do it for a lot of people. I know there's going to be many of you who want the convenience of a sedan, because yes, there's a couple extra covers, a little bit more maintenance, etc., but I tell you what, who doesn't want or appreciate this extra visibility on a nice day? This is a wonderful place to socialize, and if you've got kids or like big groups, it gives you those options. So anyway, we're here to talk about the driving. If you want to find out more about that, check in on the walkthrough. So first things first, like your visibility is amazing. The helm is on the port side, so I like having one helm on the starboard, another on the port. We also have a wing station out the back, so we have multiple options for operating this vessel coming into the marina. It's absolutely, with the right training, it's a solo operator boat. This helm here, we obviously have 2 seats. I can see the back corner. You got space for another like 8 or 10 people kicking back on the lounge just there. Just on my, the throttle is on port instead of on starboard as downstairs, and I've got chart plotter, single screen here, whereas I had twin screens downstairs, and I've got my Volvo gauges. I'll go into this in more detail in the walkthrough. Joystick, bow thruster, throttles just here, and I can do my trim on the throttle base just here. But it is worth noting that we are currently doing, so where's my speed? I don't have speed on this one. Okay, I'm going to estimate for you. So this would be at about 10 knots boat speed estimation, and we're doing 18 litres an hour total. We've got 3 motors running at the moment, three motors. So I wonder if I can get speed out of that one. I don't think it's been commissioned. No, I can't. Anyway, I'll just estimate. I can work this out. So I'm just going to bring it up through the rev range now. So I'm now, we'll just get it till we're making some waves. Alrighty, so at 50 litres total an hour, that's probably giving me a speed return of about 13 knots right there. And it almost wants to get on the plane. And this is a boat that, you know, does give you a bit of a kick in the guts. 50 litres for a big 60-foot boat, it's pretty good. Like, that's exceptional actually. So let's just get it up and moving and get it on the plane. A little bit of trim down. Like, I'm not even doing a third of my throttle input there, and the boat just wants to go. This is something that I'm just really noticing with this boat. It wants to get up and go. It wants to move. Here we go. We're on the plane. I can actually trim that up a little bit, and that's only 150 litres consumption there. We're already on the plane. Like, I drive a lot of boats of this size or similar that's more than double, like 400 litres is what I would be expecting at about this sort of speed, which feels like about 24 to 25. I'm just going to put it on that slow cruise for this boat. I believe a slow cruise, or like a sensible cruise, is about 27 knots on this boat. That feels like 27 there, and we are doing 190 litres. 190 litres, like that's really good total. Man, this has got to be one of the takeaways for me for this boat. Like this lighter hull design, the really nice underwater profile. If you are a guy or girl who wants to enjoy your driving, if you are that sort of person, you're going to love this boat. So let's just give it some more. So I'm in swell here, guys. I've got a couple of meters of swell rolling me from side to side. Now I'm doing 32 knots. That feels like about 32 there. That's 220 litres. 220 litres total. That's awesome. Okay, and now let's give it wide open. A little bit of wind over the decks here. So now only as I'm getting to my wide open throttle, which is going to give me my 36 knot speed return, my top fuel flow for the day is 317 litres. That's bloody nothing. Man, the greenies will love this boat. Holy moly, that's awesome. So you can cruise around at very respectable cruise speeds like I am right now. I'm bringing it back to, there we go, 25 to 27 knots, which is hauling ass for a lot of boats of this size. That's normally like about their top speed. Once you get 60, 65 foot sport yacht. And here we go, just over 200 litres. That really is exceptional. That's really, really cool. I think we have another little cruise around these, around the bay here, because this is lovely. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap it, guys. Like, I think if you're looking for performance, I can see, I'm going to hit another point now, which I'll go to in more detail in the walkthrough. Azimut's having a really good time in Australia right now. They're having a lot of success. I think I know why that is. It's not just the looks, the pedigree, the Italian design, and this exciting experience it gives you. I think it's the support and the company behind it as well. I can say that because I was a tenant of the Dalbora Marine Group. And they're good operators. They're really well positioned in the market with marinas all over Australia. And the team that they've built, having watched them over the last few years, there's a lot of experience behind them. You've got a lot of guys who know a lot about boats. So this seems to be a really nice marrying of a great brand, an exciting experience with an awesome company. And I think if you are looking for that really, really exciting experience in what is a very big, capable boat, this Azimut really needs to be, I think, at the top or close to your list. You know, this is exciting. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, it's not over there. Follow the links coming up on the screen now, and there's going to be some more interesting content and the walkthrough of this boat. If it's not online already, it will be when I've finished it. My name's Dan Jones, this is Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one.